Good morning. Happy first Sunday in Advent. I'm Reverend Tom here at Hillside Swedenborgian Church with my lovely wife, Eleanor. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, even if it was smaller than usual. And I just invite all of you once again to enter into a state of reflection and of contemplation as we spend this time together and as we enter into this new stage of the year. Let's begin with our regular centering moment. So if you want to just take a moment to make yourself comfortable. Let's close our eyes, take some deep breaths. Make sure there's as little tension in our bodies as possible. And let's just focus on our breath for a moment. Breathing in and breathing out. Fully present in this moment. Let's let go of all concepts. Let's let go of our thoughts for a moment. Let us simply be in the presence of the open word. And as we continue to also pay attention to our breath, flowing in and flowing out. Let's imagine that with each breath, we are breathing in blessings, warmth, light, from above and from within, which Swedenborg says are the same spiritually. With each breath that we breathe out, let's breathe out thankfulness, gratitude. Breathe in blessing. Breathe out gratitude. Breathe in blessing. Breathe out gratitude. Breathe in blessing. Breathe out gratitude. And as we hear our readings today, see if we can remain in that state of receptivity and of gratitude. Psalm 100. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful sounds. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations.
This is from Spiritual Experiences, used to sometimes called the Spiritual Diaries, number 2098. The Lord saves mankind out of sheer mercy. It is clear from many considerations that the Lord saves mankind out of mercy alone, and that he does not demand any praise or thanks in return for his divine benefits. It is clear from the state of souls, spirits, and angels who are not allowed to think, say, or do anything except by the permission and grace given by the Lord. Of their own power they can do nothing, and whatever is from them or pertains to their nature is evil, from which no praise nor thanksgiving can come. If a spirit has a mind to give thanks, he is entirely unable, except with clear permission and grace. Thus, praise and thanks are the Lord's. These matters were clear to me by the spiritual idea that the Lord does not demand anything at all from souls, spirits, and angels in return for his divine benefits.
And from Arcana Celestia, section number 5957. Everything that flows in from the Lord through the external from the internal into the external, or into the natural, even what flows into spiritual good, which is Israel, because this good is from the natural, is given gratuitously. The Lord does indeed demand humiliation, adoration, thanksgivings, and many other things from us, which appear like repayings, and thus not gratuitous. But the Lord does not demand these things for his own sake, for the divine has no glory from our humility, adoration, and thanksgiving. In the divine, anything of the love of self is utterly inconceivable. That such things should be done for his own sake, but therefore our own sake. For when we are in a state of humility, we can receive good from the Lord, because he has then been separated from our love of selfishness, which is the obstacle. And therefore, the Lord desires a state of humility in us for our own sake, because when we are in this state, the Lord can flow in with heavenly goodness. The case is similar with adoration and with thanksgiving.
In case you were wondering where that angelic voice came from, it wasn't Swedenborg himself. It was John Scott, who is socially distantly sitting behind the camera. So thanks, John Scott, for that reading. So I was debating about whether to select the readings and kind of think about my own reflection for today between focusing on the fact that this is the beginning of the Advent season, which has so much beautiful, rich symbolism in it, and the fact that we just had Thanksgiving. And I decided to focus on the concept of Thanksgiving because I realized it's really closely, intimately related to us entering into the state of celebration, of anticipation, perhaps of reflection of what this past year has been like and what the next year might bring. Maybe we'll have a chance to go within as we go through this time. And one of the things that Swedenborg keeps stressing as an important ingredient of both our interactions with each other and our actions with our interactions with the divine, and that is being in a state of loving for the sake of love. And the concept of thanksgiving, the concept of mercy, the concept of thankfulness takes on a different form in Swedenborg than it does in many of the more traditional approaches to Christianity. There's that idea that, as we read in our readings today, God does not demand anything in return for blessing. God blesses just to bless. And he also talks about how God does not demand or even enjoy the act of us thanking God for anything. Angels aren't even allowed to express thankfulness to God because God's love is not conditional. It's not conditional. And yet humility is such an important aspect of spiritual growth. And that's where Swedenborg says the key lies, is that when we enter a state of gratitude for what we have received, for the things that are good in our life, are positive in our life, enjoyable in our life, when we enter into a state of gratitude and humility, we open up something in our own spiritual state that leaves us able to truly receive and to then distribute and permeate that love. So it's, in a way, it's a thought process, a spiritual thought process that is beneficial to us in the sense that it puts us in a state of humility, which is such an important, for some people, the first step in spiritual growth. And as we reflect on this past year, one of the things that I was worried about when this whole COVID thing first started was the idea that maybe we will lose our appreciation for in-person interaction, right? There's so many things we can do, and it's awesome, right, online. But there was a fear in me that perhaps this will have a lasting effect that might not be positive, right? That starts devaluing the physical, interpersonal interaction. And what it seems to me is that the opposite has been happening. and Thanksgiving was a great example of this, is that people are realizing how grateful we were when we got to meet each other, when we got to hug each other, when we got to hang out in person without a mask. There's a deep appreciation that I have and that I sensed in a lot of people around me for being able to go to a concert, being able to go to a festival, being able to go out to dinner with a bunch of friends. There's a newfound gratitude. And I think that perhaps what we realize is that this whole electronic thing, in fact, cannot replace the personal, interpersonal, physical interactions. And as we all contemplate something they're grateful for, this would be an example for me. I invite us once again, perhaps this week, to sit with the idea that God's blessing is 100% unconditional. And that perhaps it is in realizing that thankfulness becomes so powerful as a tool of regeneration, of spiritual growth. So perhaps one of the things to practice as we move into the new year is to cultivate a love, a love for others that is truly selfless, to put others' needs before our own. Swedenborg says that a life of true worship is a life of kindness toward our neighbor. That's where the rubber hits the road. So those are just some reflections that I've been sitting with, and I hope that we can continue our conversation and get some input from y'all as we have our coffee hour at 11:30, just in a little bit. So I hope you can make it. I hope you got the link. You should have. If you didn't, let me know. And yeah, I hope to see you there and chat some more. Thanks so much for coming.